Hey y'all, it's Flinny here and welcome to my quiver of boots and my skis. So these videos, parts 1 and parts 2, will discuss an overview of the boots, the bindings, and the whole system and why I pick one for wear. But in summary, these guys are what I call my trail boots. I use them mainly in trails or maybe on the beach and other things like that, so it's not that steep or hard. Move up into backcountry terrain, and then finally the inbound downhill boots, which we'll talk about some more on all that. Notice that these all can kind of slide around in different whatever terrain you go on, but I tend to like to pick if I'm doing mellow trails or going inbounds to Cannon or to Whiteface in the Adirondacks, just whatever you want to do. So that's where we are. Now let's jump into it, and we're going to go into each boot and its appropriate ski, and let's just remember to get out there and earn your turns. So now we navigate into the backcountry terrain, which is really mainly off trail or you're following somebody else's tracks, snowshoers, other things, weaving inside the woods, over Hilldale, crossing rivers, all this kind of fun stuff, even going up to ski off Mount Washington. Maybe not the head wall, but that's up to you. But that's the idea. Rolly terrain, awesome, great stuff. The idea is you have these boots. We just talked about this boot in the major trails. So this is the crossover boot. So if there's not a lot of steep downs, then this is the way to go. But let's stick on these guys. These are new boots that we have. There's a Rossignol and a Fischer brand. It gets how there's just a little bit difference in height. So it just really depends. Obviously this one is more run-of-the-mill all terrain, and these guys are definitely what I'm getting. These are what I'm going to be using for inbounds as much as I can, just because I like them, but they really are a backcountry boot. So this can blend back upper if you're getting go inbounds, which we'll talk about shortly, just like these go down into the trail level. So these guys are right, this is in the sweet spot. The great thing about these boots is they're a faux plastic and they're not real leather. They have all these other accoutrements, but they also fit really nicely. So the nice thing about these is they're a single layer boot, and pretty much if you just get the right size, they'll fit and they won't give you blisters. These guys you got to break in, and that's the whole downside of this stuff. So these new boots are really pretty great. So I recommend any of these. Again, this is a little bit harder to get into with that zipper, but it does avoid the having to need a gaiter and all that kind of good stuff. But they're all good boots, but you'll notice they're all have a 3-pin, just like they're all set up. So now let's take a look at how these match in skis. Okay. Okay, sweet spot, backcountry. You'll notice the same skis I used before with the other 3-pin bindings, the Fischer Crown E99s. Use whichever one you have. These are waxables, so again, I can just go up and down and do whatever terrain I would like. So it's pretty nice, and we can ski just as well. You see this same boot and binding. I can switch around. It's really kind of nice. Still get the flex to go up, and then can drive the turn. You can see I can get all of that down there and still drive a pretty good darn turn. So without any heel lifts and all that. So notice this again is kind of the 50-50 where you're doing a lot of up and a lot of down. The waxless is great, so you can just scooch right up without having to worry about skins and other fun things like that. But really nice sweet setup for majority of this again. But this is what I want. I want to go down, and I want to go down safely and have lots of fun and not worry about having to be wimpy and do basic step turns or walk down or anything crazy like that. So sweet spot, these kinds of heavy duty boots with these skis. This is my ultimate blend between inbound and backcountry. This boot in these skis. These are a classic Fischer GTS with the cable bonding, which I'll give you a little more detail in just a minute. But again, the purpose is these are mainly meant to go down with a little bit up. And you wonder, how do you go up? You know the answer. Climbing skins, and we'll show you that in just a sec. But first, let's take these guys off. You'll see they work pretty much the same way, but nice thing is they have a ski leash, so you can go inbound, so if you wipe out, you don't lose your ski. Very key. But these are, again, relics from the 80s, but they still work today. A nice Chouinard, yes, it is Chouinard before Black Diamond. Chouinard equipment, Riva. You'll notice no wax pocket at all, so these bad girls will not really go up without skins. So you really have to do that. But these are still available. They're very low cost. I mean, I know it's a relic, but it's up to you the way you want to use it. But for me, the idea of the addition of the cable is the indicator to go down. So if you're doing a lot of down, a lot of in the middle of a up 50-50, then this may be your ticket versus the no 3-pin with no cable. So pretty good. But let's talk about some climbing skins, shall we? Bear with me, my climbing skins, I have not used them yet because I got them new. These were deals off Amazon these are relics that match everything else that came off. Chouinard equipment used to sell these a long time ago. So the climbing skins you normally get are a lot nicer, but you can tell I don't really care, I just like to go. But on the bottom, you have this mohair, which covers the whole ski. I will show you the tip. You can see how it just slips on this way and flits over itself. So it's pretty easy and it's not that wide, which is really nice for these kind of skinnier skis. I know today's new skis, everybody's got these big fat suckers, which you need to get bigger ones, which I do have, but these are just great for these kind of backcountry skis. So this is really going to help me go up. And there's the tail hook as we catch on that way. So these need a little bit of love to fit just right, but then they'll just do fine when I want to take these guys and go out with these this way. Because without the camber, and you would need to go up, you need to skin up, or you're hiking.
We have Mr. Dave Arrow Flynn tearing it up, Sunday River. Very nice.
Thank you, Paul.
There he is.
Awesome. Inbound or downhill. So this is going to a downhill area with your downhill friends, and you just want to take the lifts, ski down, and have lots of fun. I'm an Indy Pass member, so it's pretty easy to go to the local areas from Pat's Peak to Cannon to Jay Peak, Bolton Valley, all these other great places. I really should just get in the car and go west and explore them. But anyway, I digress. So I just mentioned these are my crossover that I'm hoping to use to go in my inbounds skis, and we'll talk to you about the skis I'll be using with them. But it's my goal. But 20 years ago, I upgraded to these Scarpa T2Xs. Oopsie, this way. And T2Xs. And these are like the golden standard for 3-pin converts to go from leather to inbound boots. It's really nice with the 3-buckle system and easy to get into. It's a double boot you can take out, so there's lots of work there. But these are the tried and true 3-pin bindings, even though most of these you don't use the 3 pins when you're going downhill. Usually that's rare. You're not going to use them on those small skis, even they will fit just because you're doing more up. But these are meant to go down a lot. Notice it's the new Big Brother, which I upgraded to 10 years ago, is the NTN version of the skis. You'll notice these are a little bit beefier. They got 4 boots there. They both have what we call the walk mode or the ski mode. Full disclosure, I don't think I've ever skied in ski mode because it's too stiff for me. When you come from leathers and you go into these boots, they're a lot stiffer, and I'll show you in a second when we get out the bindings on. So I have skinny little legs that don't weigh a lot, so to drive the force to do them takes a lot of work for me. So that's the difference, but these are all good. The one thing that I like about NTN is that they really are take no prisoners. So if you really want to bomb down the hill, ski off anything, they really give you the most control and safety. We'll talk about it in just a second. But these are the inbound boots, and let's get to it. Welcome to my classic, maybe you'll say vintage, maybe even relic, downhill skis. But I've skied them for years and I still love them. I'm going to be skiing them again. Classic T2s, you'll notice they're in these black diamond, not Chenard, O2 bindings. They're kind of a relic binding. If you're buying new kit, you're probably going to get better. You can still find these around and they're safe enough, but we'll get to more of that in the binding. But you can see these things that still do that turn a little bit more, but because they're on this whole platform, they're a little bit elevated off the ski, but mainly for these, as you can see, these are the compression pumps that hold the stiffness, so you can change the width of them by just spinning them and playing around with them. So I should probably loosen them up, but anyway, that's a whole nother project. Ski leash, just in case there is a wipeout, because these things will pull out on the skis. Notice again, no camber on these skis. So let's take a look at the skis and the bindings a little more. So these just pop out pretty easily, and once the binding that's off, then you just have to do this, and then you're free of the boot. Let's first show you the binding a little bit more. My hands are in the way. Sorry about that. So classic boot and binding system. You'll notice there's no pins in there, so nothing to get ripped out, because that's what happens when you go down a lot. Those pins are going to get ripped out. So the true downhill bindings do not have pins in them, and that's why you have these big plates, and you need the cable behind it to hold that boot in and drive. These are these power bars that are used to adjust the tension in this cable that holds your boot in your turn, and it works pretty well. Especially now, if you had leather boots, then these are going to be even more valuable, because your boot bends a lot more, and so you use that for stiffness. But these are classical boots off the ski. The nice thing about it being a little off the ski is it allows snow to build up under here a little bit easier. With some of the other 3-pin bindings, snow gets in there, especially when you wipe out. So you just have to watch that. In case you care about these skis, these are classic K2 Piste Pipes, which kind of means you can kind of go backwards. These were a big deal in the day. Again, relics today, but hey, I'm skiing them. So that's the real classic setup for a classic old Scarpa, and I skied for years. I skied off everything. It was totally awesome. Okay. Now let's kick it up a notch. The NTN system with these Scarpa boots. I personally moved these up as I just wanted to go for full-on security when I hit 50. I didn't want to take any chances. I wanted to ski everything and not have to worry about it. And these things can ski off anything. Nowadays are a little bit heavy for me, which is why I want to go down to the old leathers, but we'll see, because these are pretty awesome boots. So let's digress. Let me show you a little bit. So see, much stiffer. Again, that is, they have a similar tube down here, which I'll show you just in a moment, that you can work on. So that's the main part about these boots, is it's kind of, you can do the same kind of concept. It's just it's a real stiff system. Awesome. You'll notice these are my Scott. These are new skis. Forget the name of them, but you can see they're a lot wider. I think they're a 95. So they're pretty good. They're 184s in length, which I like the longer skis. I don't like the chattering of short skis, but that's all personal, up to you. These are ready for skins if I need them. So they're pretty awesome. But let's just show you some of the features of these Rottefella Freedom bindings. The first ones that kind of really came out with the Scarpa NTN design. Now you have a little more options, which is all cool, and that's a whole nother topic. But one thing is, if you'll notice, if I pop this guy up, now the boot is in what we call walk mode. So this is what you're going to do when you want to skin up. You're going to leave it in walk mode, so it's very easy to flex. And if you're doing steep stuff, that's where you have these heel lifts. So if you can kind of start to see, you can keep you don't have to lift your arm, your ankle doesn't get all burned out. So you really need these if you're going up steep terrain. So these are ready to go inbound, outbound, all around. It's pretty awesome. So, and then to get out of them, just the next level up, releases the cable, and then you can spin out the boot and you're out. Give you a little bit closer view. The first thing you'll notice is the ski brakes. A lot of ski areas, if you're a ski patrol, supposedly they don't let you use just leashes like I showed before. You need a brake. So these again can be installed with or without a brake. I put the brakes in and they do work as well as any other ski brake. You'll notice that they have all this tech underneath here. Some people do complain that, like a lot of these bindings, you have to worry about getting snow and ice underneath here if you do too much wipeouts and things like that. So you just have to be nature of that. Otherwise what happens is snow gets cut onto it. But there's always a gotcha. Of all these skis and boots and bindings in my quiver, and all I want you to do is whichever skis you pick, whichever bindings you work on, and whatever boots you're wearing, just get out there and earn your turns.